Yo, 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 episode 20, trending down. Got myself Ethersole, Bender, and, we're back in a timely fashion.
We're back.
We're back, and the market has been ripping since our last episode. We will probably say you're welcome. So let's start off with that. The inaugural long has been punted. There wasn't enough liquidity on GMX, so it was only a 25x long, but bear with us.
I mean, it's been up $200 since the last episode, so 25x is still 25x.
100%. And then if you went with size last episode, especially when I tweeted front run us, it was at like 1290. So you weren't even close to getting liquidated, and you're probably up fat. So, if you want to sponsor the podcast, let us know. But as always, the producer literally gives us lashings if we don't say this. And so go check out the YouTube, subscribe, all that stuff. We put the pod up there, I think a day after we put it on Spotify and all that. But yeah.
We did not say that last week.
Yeah, I know. My back, my neck still hurts. Dude, I mean, markets have been ripping and the vibes are high. It's nice to see.
Yeah, the timeline is back to having some fun and not at each other's throats anymore.
Yeah, and every move higher, the people who missed the whole move are getting saltier and saltier, and it's incredible for me to watch.
Yeah, you have everyone rallying on one side now saying there's an imminent downside coming because they've missed it.
Right, and then I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, how are you in this space and you check it every day? You're on Twitter. You're in these Discords. And you weren't buying ETH near 1K because you were going to hold out till 700, but in your overall thesis is ETH is going to 10K. Who cares about that little difference? What do you want to time the bottom for a trophy? I mean, get out of here! You missed the move, and now you're just coping.
No, you hit the nail on the head though. Time the bottom for a trophy. That's what they absolutely want to do. They get the most clout on Twitter or wherever they're community is by showing that trade of hey, I am the perfect trader. They get in their own way. Right.
It makes no sense. If you were DCAing and I mean, we've been talking about it for months. It's hey, ETH around 1.11. I mean, that's a good buy long term. And you're chilling right now. I mean, we're not here for ETH 1500 all of a sudden take profits. I mean, if you're short term swing, whatever, I mean, profits are profits, but still, we're chilling right now.
Absolutely.
ETH is now deflationary.
No,
it's a great day. Yeah. Things are going up.
It's something weird about ETH. I think it's a mental thing for me where it's above the last high, the last cycle. It feels good. When it's below that, it feels bad.
It's true. It's one of those things. There's a lot of mental pivot points on the chart, I feel like. So the fact that we were chilling at 1.1 for so long, people had months to buy that. And then everyone's coming out of the woodworks, being oh, we're going lower for sure. Macro's trash. It's I don't know. I just don't subscribe to all that is what it is.
I like your subscription model where if you
just
believe the
perma
upside, perma bull, because if you believe the upside is higher than it is today, it doesn't matter if you go lower in the next 6 months. You just wait for that higher point that you believe in.
Yeah. And let's be honest, perma bull is fine because you're bullish on the tech long term. I mean, Ethereum is here to stay. The community's crazy. The devs are crazy. It's all wild. So why would you even mess around with not buying some near 1K? I just don't get it. And then all that said though, you can't shame selling, right? So taking profits is all good. It's always a good time to take profits, and you can't get mad at yourself for that. So that's just a little disclaimer there, because a perma bull is all fine and dandy, but if you're not taking money home to the bank, it's also what are you doing?
Yeah, it's never fun to round trip something. I think I sell a little bit from what I bought every time we get a big jump.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smart way to do it.
I'm always taking profits. You'll always get another buy-in somewhere. You'll get another lower leg someday. And if you don't, that's why you only sold maybe 5-10%.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's just hedging.
If you're going to take word from the wise, there it is.
There we go. I mean, the way I look at it is a lot of people listening probably have a 401k or a retirement account, and they don't go trade that and liquidate the entire thing when the market goes down a little bit.
No.
They just keep buying into it, and they say, hey, in 40 years, when I'm retired, whenever this is going to be, this number will be higher than it is today. You do the same thing with Ethereum.
Exactly. And I've had some smart friends who are, more Web 2 normies, and, they have the 401k, all that stuff. And they're just like, hey, I want exposure to the space. Like, is buying ETH cool? And that's it. I'm like, dude, that is the best plan ever. Just buy ETH, DCA, and chill. I guarantee, or not guarantee, but like in 10 years, 5-10 years, you'll probably be happy with that decision, because you're getting exposure to the entire space. I mean, ETH is NFTs, it's DeFi, it's all these different umbrellas, and you're basically getting exposure to that. You can look at it like a hyper growth index.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So anyway, that's the bull posting for now. We just had DOJ come out, which was hilarious. So we nuked. I think you probably slept through this, huh?
Yeah. You're going to put it out there like that, huh? I did. I woke up to seeing, okay, what's gone on today?
The DOJ announced I don't know, I guess 3 hours ago now, but either way. So they announced, imagine this, they announced that they're going to have an announcement. So that's hilarious in itself. Sounds like every rug NFT project. Hey, tomorrow's going to be an announcement. Here's an announcement of the announcement.
Right.
And so ETH was at 1,600, about to break it, or 1,590 something, whatever. And then it dumps immediately, almost to breaking 1,500, but just around 1,500, because people are like, oh my God, it's going to be Binance, it's going to be Genesis. Like, people are getting put in, chains. They're going to shut Binance down forever. And then they come out and say it was Bits Lotto. And if you're sitting here being like, what is Bits Lotto? Exactly.
Precisely. Yeah.
That's all you need to know. Like, we're not even going to talk about it. That's all you need to know. So there's kind of a joke. So we're rebounding now. And, that was a hilarious hour to 2 hours in crypto, but it's par for the course, right?
Yeah. And I think I'm actually okay with that. As long as they're targeting random things that they deem bad actors that don't impact us, that's a net win.
100%. And, my biggest takeaway there was that they basically said, we are willing to do anything it takes to eradicate bad actors in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. To me, that wording wasn't we hate crypto, let's take the whole sector down. It was we don't mind crypto, but we aren't going to stand for North Korea laundering money and Russians being able to avoid sanctions via shitty exchanges that aren't abiding by pretty basic rules. So I don't know. I walked away being actually a little more bullish, because they're so behind. They're targeting someone like Bits Lotto. I mean, who cares? They literally said they were working on this for over a year.
Right.
So someone like Binance, it's okay, that's going to take 10 years to unfold. But either way, the verbiage there was kind of reassuring.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I expect. I don't think they hate crypto, because from a economic standpoint, or even a profitability standpoint, they still have so many things in place that could profit wildly off crypto while letting a population also profit and enjoy it. Right. I think they just care about the political landscape and how the crypto can impact that. And if that means taking down whatever Trivago or Blitz Lotto, whatever this thing was, do it 10 more times.
Yeah. All right. I need to interrupt this quick conversation right now, so we can jump back to it. But the BAYC passes just launched, and the claims going on. People are buying tier 1s for 2.2 ETH. Tier 2s are listed for 5 ETH. I don't know if any have been bought. Tier 3s for 6.5, and then tier 4s are starting around 10. Now, this is people obviously just putting up their passes for whatever they think maybe it's worth. But yeah, that's happening live on air right now, folks.
Did you claim yours yet?
No. I literally can't. I'm the worst multitasker in the world, and so I probably would it would probably be a shitty podcast episode if I even tried. But so be it. You're claiming right now, huh?
Oh, I'm already done. Yeah, I just did it.
Are you gonna list for 40 ETH or what?
I'm going to sit on this until after the podcast and figure out what's going on. I've read nothing. I know there's a game coming.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually just learned now that there's different tiers to the passes, so that was neat.
Yeah. No, it's a good time. But yeah, so anyway, DOJ this morning. Yeah, we got a little BOYC mint. But no, it's been a good week for crypto. We've been pumping. And the timeline's been pumping with the engagement on all these puzzles we've been putting out. I don't know if you've seen it, but obviously you've seen it. But if you haven't, we put out some puzzles for the Benderverse project, which was hilarious.
Yeah, that was wild. That was we deemed that like a 2 out of 5 difficulty, and it took
you
about
and producer
2.5 hours. Yeah.
I did not know the answer the whole time.
No liabilities, no leaks.
My thing was that I thought it was insane that people put teams together to figure this out.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Yeah.
It was actually really fun to see people tweeting out, "Hey, team up with me. Hey, do this." But it also kind of gave me a feeling of, what if you're kind of navigating the world alone? That's not great to say, "Hey, put a team together to do this. Let's crowdsource it."
Yeah.
So I really wanted to reward people that said, "Hey, like if you don't have your friends right now, if they're asleep, if they're working, put some hints that you think are important on the timeline. Like I'll get you in for that." So some guy got in just for being like, "Hey, this hyphen here looks really odd." No one had solved it yet, and I was saying, "Okay, that guy's in." Like that was a huge hint to point out.
Yeah. I mean, I think my biggest takeaway is that it's awesome to see already like a community fully rallying. I mean, I know you have a huge following and that type of stuff, but it's just awesome to see people working together. Like kind of reminds me of when Bored Apes put out their puzzles and people had like teams on Discord trying to figure it all out. I mean, shit, this was 2 out of 5 difficulty. Couldn't imagine 5 out of 5. It's going to take squadrons of people.
Yeah, man. 5 out of 5 is going to be good. I'm not sure people will solve them, but that's okay. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to give out the answer or give out hints to make them all solvable.
It'll be
fun.
Is if you set aside okay, so say you had a puzzle pre-mint, yeah? And then you set aside like that allow list spot. And if no one got it before the mint, you still set aside a couple NFTs for that specific puzzle. And then if someone solved it like 6 months down the line, they would get those like placeholder NFTs.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure you already thought of that.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that's happening.
Okay, awesome.
Because
that's cool they did it.
Yeah, the technical side of that's super simple. It's you don't even need to. Some people try to use technology to solve problems that they don't need to solve.
Oh yeah.
And there's someone out there listening that's like, oh yeah, you can just make special containers in the contract to hold those, and have like a special function to claim them later. No, just hold on to 5 of them, and if someone solves it, send them one.
Right, exactly.
Like, just buy 5 off the floor. Like it'll be cool. I'm excited for it.
No, I'm excited too. I think the community is obviously super excited. Again, it's just nice to see people kind of rallying around it and showing the podcast love and timeline love, all that stuff. So producers definitely having a time with it. We can tell you that.
He's having fun.
Yeah,
he's loving it. I was not loving all the DMs that I brought upon myself.
I know. Even I was getting a little overflow of DMs with that one. So funny to see.
Yeah, what a time. There'll be a lot more. I've voiced this before, but my DMs are always open. If you have ideas you want to see, if you liked it, let me know. And we'll do more of them. Got a lot more things in the chamber.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Obviously, the podcast will have some alpha and get all the information as well. But yeah, I mean, shit, man, we've been doing this for 20 episodes now, and wild to even think about. It's already come a long way because now we have an intro.
I know, it's a little more official now.
But yeah, it's crazy. Episode 20. I mean, I'm hoping we look back at this on episode 120 and be like, dude, I was so cringe back in the day. But either way, we've made it this far.
Do you think we'll look back? And by look back, you're saying we'll listen to the episodes again? I don't know if we're doing that.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't listen to them as is.
No,
But
neither do I. Well, we spoke them once. I don't need to go hear them again. That seems like
exactly.
narcissistic.
I mean, I guess I am listening to it right now, right?
Right. You have to listen to me.
Exactly. So I'm not going to put myself through that twice.
No, that's a lot of punishment. That borders masochism.
But I think the main thing is like the evolution is going to be something to watch. It's like, you know, we literally hop on this thing, press record. That hasn't changed. The intro's added. Now there's a producer putting out some fire content, kind of drumming up hype. But I think the next level is like, you know, almost like a video show and then interacting with the community a bit more, like taking audio clips or video clips of people and seeing what they have to say or questions or topics or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like making it more interactive, if you will.
Yeah, that'll be the fun next steps for the podcast for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of new perspectives on others hosting their shows, I don't think I've really gotten a lot from that. I tune into some of them.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with everything, but I think what I've really tried to hone in on is kind of the maturity of it and not devolve into like screaming matches, or, you know, we saw a lot of like the Shillin villain, like crazy spaces where they're just like screaming capitulation. I think that a lot of perspectives I got was what not to do, and what I was like, I would never put up with that as a listener. But it's fun to see everyone else kind of branching out and saying, hey, like, let's do podcasts. Let's do more long form audio content.
Yeah. I think one thing I took away from just like looking on the timeline, all that stuff, but is like people being like, you know, I don't want the same regurgitated content over and over. Like I go from one podcast to the next and it's the same thing in this crypto space specifically, maybe even NFTs included. But I'm hoping we bring a different perspective just because we cover kind of like DeFi and NFTs, and then the user questions or the Twitter topics rather are gold. So, you know, that's all unique, but you know, I'm definitely like cognizant of that. So if we ever stray down that line, for sure, either DM me or shout out on Twitter, because definitely want to avoid that at all costs. But yeah, it's been a good run so far. Many more to come. Yeah, love to see.
I think the Twitter topics are my favorite part.
Oh, for sure. And that's I think what we realized, right? It's like a quick market recap, but then let's get into what the people want to hear about.
Yeah, and also like what I want to talk about. I could talk about crypto all day, but it's way more fun to try to figure out all the other random questions.
100%. And, you know, breaking news though, super off topic, but Genesis is reporting bankruptcy. So.
Oh, that's sensational.
Yeah, that 25x long. Thank God it was 25x, because the 50x probably would have been nuked by now. But we're still alive and we're thriving. So we'll check back on this later in the episode. But yeah, breaking news live on the podcast. So there you go.
So something I'm watching these sewer passes sell while we're talking about this. A lot of people are not watching what they claimed, and they're just taking the first WETH offer. I'm seeing tier 3s go for 1.7 WETH, tier 2s at the same, and then immediately reselling for twice the value.
Wow.
So
what's the point of that?
I think just failure to understand the difference in the tier, and thinking that the WETH offer or the WETH offer that you're getting when your NFT gets created is valued at the floor of your tier, when it's actually valued at the floor of the collection. So if you got away with that, somebody out there listening, well done. I've seen a lot of people snake that.
Yeah. Damn, that's wild. I am seeing, like a tier 3 for 1.7 at the floor. Like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Crazy. But then people are sweeping this collection as well, so it's just wild to see. I mean, you can't fade Yuga.
No. Never.
Like, why would you? But yeah, so let's see here. We do have one question before we get into Twitter topics, and this is from the producer. But are tech layoffs good for Web3? Will better talent find their way to startups?
No. I don't think so. I think it's inherently bad for Web3 probably, because you're taking, let's say you're taking like tech layoffs. Let's assume you're laying off engineers, project managers, and product managers that are more technically inclined. Then they're more apt to go look for another job in the same field sort of in that Web 2 field and then moonlight in Web 3, like we've kind of seen through the last bull market. I can't imagine getting laid off from somewhere like Meta or Netflix or wherever else and saying, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to go to the market that is down 80% from the high of last year. It just sounds like it's the wrong direction, and I can't see like a logical person saying that if they weren't already in here.
I was going to say that part, the last part specifically, is that I think a lot of the strong talent probably moved over or thought about moving and pulled trigger when it was like new paradigm up only, but they're not leaving as far as like what I've seen and shifting back to Web 2. If anything, they're probably diving deeper, at least from my personal experience. And so I agree where, of course, some talent could trickle down from Web 2, but it's a tough time to have people buy in when even some of the OGs in this industry are like questioning buying $1,000 ETH. I mean, I go back to that, but that just shows like people's resolve and like conviction are being tested. And so to think that new people from just, you know, the standard tech world would jump in during that time doesn't make sense. When ETH goes to 10K, I mean, they're going to come in droves, but you know, that's just how the game works.
Right.
So yeah, I agree there. I don't think it's necessarily like good for Web3, but I don't know, a shakeup of the norm is always interesting, especially for, you know, a trickle down type scenario for an industry trying to disrupt that norm.
Yeah, and I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I think it's just kind of neutral. It's just something happening in parallel to Web3.
And that's okay.
Right.
You want to get into some Twitter topics here?
Yeah, we've got a whole bunch to run through.
I know we got a bunch, and this is the best part. So, I'll start off with the first one since it's at me. At Ethersole, did you open your long for the ep? I mean, clown question. Am I at the fucking carnival right now? Because of course I did. I literally open it for every ep. So it's literally like clockwork. You can always guarantee that I'm at least punting a 50x long or in this case 25x long because GMX doesn't have a liquidity, which is annoying. But yeah, we're always punting longs on the episode recording because it's tradition. If you think about the history of this podcast, I'm pretty sure our first episodes were around that ETH $800 mark.
Oh yeah, it was at the darkest of the dark.
And the entire point of trending down was to be the reverse curse to up only by Kobe and Ledger. So, I mean, I'm not going to claim victory, but ETH is almost double at what we started at. I mean, it's been a journey to get here, but still.
I mean, yeah, you put it that way, almost double. I never thought about that.
It's just facts. So, yeah, the longs have been punted, and they always will be. So
every time, baby.
Yeah. It is what it is. You can count on it like air and water, basically. Well, water, I guess not so much, but anyway.
Air on water?
No, air and water.
Air and water.
It's just constant. If Bender could take one Ethersole NFT, one of Ethersole's NFTs, and Ethersole one of Bender's, which would they be? You can go first.
Oh man. Okay, I've voiced this before, but the gummy bear from Winter Bears is one of the coolest NFTs I've seen.
But I don't have that one.
You don't, but I would take the gladiator in place of that.
And while we're talking about this, because Winter Bears should be pudgy penguins, or at least like going lockstep with it. Now the founders clearly fumbled the bag, but they should be doing well in this like cute meta. And I'm just so heated that they're not.
I don't know if they're ever coming back anymore. I think the time has passed. They've been laid to waste.
The only way they do is if it's like a similar scenario to where Pudgy started, where they get sold to someone.
Or if that Coca-Cola sponsorship that Art Chick kept teasing out there was actually real. If they didn't make that entire thing up, we'd be in a different place with Winter Bears.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I've actually pitched multiple times to try and find the founders of Winter Bears to take over the project, along with a couple other huge NFT holders, and they're just like, they're ghost.
Yeah.
Their multisig still holds $1 million, and
Really?
they haven't done anything with it. They're just sitting there.
What's their plan, I wonder? That's so strange.
I don't know, and I know for a fact some of them are docs because they pivoted from DeFi to do the whole Winter Bears thing, and just fully screwed it because they just put out collection after collection, and then obviously didn't follow through on any of their promises. And then once the bear came, it was like, okay, hey, see ya, let's ghost the project. But which isn't super surprising, but still, there's $1 million sitting in their treasury. What are you doing?
Wow. I wonder, someone has to know who they are, right?
Oh, I know for a fact some people do, and I haven't fully gone down the route of exploring that yet, because I don't know, just busy. But imagine a Winter Bear revival and just leading the charge there with a Spartan Bear.
I think you'd be the one to lead the charge.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but I think I should say it. Yeah.
You'd have to be, honestly. Well, it'd be me now because I've stolen your Spartan Bear.
Correct. You stole the bear.
Right.
That's hilarious. I was thinking that you would say the ape because the ape is worth something, but
no, I forgot about it actually.
Okay, I'm literally stopping recording right now. I mean, shit. I'm taking your mutant. I don't even know of any other NFTs you even have. I don't think you have any others besides hidden folders.
I have a fuck ton of hidden folders, man.
I mean, yeah,
it's
the graveyard.
Bad. The graveyard, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I would just take the mutant because it's probably something I could get, some value out of.
You don't want the codas?
Oh, how many codas plural?
Yeah, we made some choices and they haven't panned out well, but we got some choices.
Honestly, though, quick segue there is I feel like codas probably end up being a good play, similar to mutants where everyone forgot about them and then they have their own run whenever Yuga unveils what's going on there.
I kind of think so
too. It could take
too.
a while though.
Yeah. They need to do a really big multiple.
Yeah.
It's painful to talk about. They need to do a 10x. Is that right?
For you to break even?
Yeah.
Oh, in USD terms or what?
Yeah, in USD terms.
Okay. Yeah.
Because those came out at 3,300 ETH.
Yeah.
And they were 30 ETH.
Yeah, it's so tough because, I mean, if you believe that another NFT bull is coming, it's I would personally rather have it come before ETH goes straight up only because then, I could stack a ton of ETH for the ride to 10K. But something tells me it's going to be a lockstep situation. ETH goes up, chills, NFTs run. ETH goes up, chills, NFTs run. But
right.
maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, well, here's to hoping those codas aren't just kind of grazing in a pasture for all of eternity. Just a shame in my life.
I mean, we just said don't fade Yuga, so
don't fade Yuga,
right.
And I swear to God, if they fade me, I'm gonna freak out. Do you remember when that drop happened? And I was I'm making a rarity tool. I'm gonna find all the rare codas.
You were into it.
Yeah, those rare codas didn't do shit.
Yeah,
might as well be floor
the
codas.
first week it was
it's crazy.
I guess it was only the grail codas, right? The top 100, which are megas. Those ones were the ones to snipe, and then they sold each for 250 ETH or something that first couple months.
And I missed those. Those were done by hand. When I got my thing finished, I got number 101 and 103 or something.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So they're super rare with some one of one traits on them, but turned out to be a nothing burger.
Yeah. Well, there's always another pitch.
There's always another pitch. I don't play baseball, but I love that term. I always say that. There's always another pitch.
That term.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with it fully. You don't need to chase. Okay. Moving on. Preferred holiday protein, turkey or ham?
Ham.
So random. Yeah, ham. It's not even a question. Not even doesn't even need further debate.
Turkey is bad.
yeah, it's always, I mean, okay, sure, you could be like, if it's cooked right, it's great. Bruh, it's normally always dry. So
Yeah.
even if you cook it right, it ends up being dry.
Right. And if you cook a ham poorly, it's still good.
Exactly. So GG, well played. Ham all day.
The only thing turkey is good for after, like for a holiday protein, is the next day, the leftovers makes a good sandwich because the condiments can like revitalize the turkey. But eating it day of, you have to like lather it in cranberry sauce or gravy to make it even edible, in my opinion.
I mean, okay, yeah, like you're basically just talking about turkey as a deli meat. Like no one like hates that. It's like, it's, you know, it's all good, but standalone, ham just shits on turkey.
Someone out there is very upset though. They're thinking, I deep fry a turkey and it's so good, it's perfect, it's moist and it's great. That's fine. It's still bad.
Invite though.
No, don't invite me. I'm going somewhere that has ham.
Have both, and then I'll try your deep fried turkey, and we'll be the judge. How about that?
I've already picked ham. I'm biased. You can't put me on the judge panel.
What if someone's like, I have the best turkey in the entire nation, entire world, and it's gonna blow your mind?
Well, then you have to try it. Okay, but I feel like they've built it up so much at that point that it can only fail expectations.
True. I mean, that is actually, that goes deep actually. But yeah.
I've got a family trip coming up in a few months, and they've been talking about this restaurant that's the best restaurant, and it's going to blow your mind with how good the food is.
It's going to be trash, huh?
I'm optimistic for it, but the expectations are really high.
Yeah, it's hard to hype something up that big. Anytime you hype something up super hard, it puts it at risk.
It does, which is what we've done with so many things in the crypto space. So let's keep doing it.
Yeah, that's the whole podcast, right? Sick.
That's right. Never learn.
On that note, what's the biggest narrative fade in the coming months? Like maybe what is hot. Maybe they mean like what is hot right now that's going to burn out or something.
I think so. Narrative fade.
Okay. Well, everyone's excited about like liquid staked derivatives, which is like, you know, staking your ETH and then being able to exit anytime you want, like Lido and some of these other like Rocket Pool and stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily fade the narrative. I'm not playing it, but anytime something is super hyped up, kind of goes back to what we just said. It always has a crash and burn part to it. So, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to find a narrative to fade. I don't normally look for things to fade.
Well, we have two questions here. The follow-up is, what's the biggest narrative to fade? And what is the biggest narrative fade in the coming months? I think it's fad. I think it's a fad and what to fade.
Interesting. Okay, biggest fad will be liquid stake derivatives. At least I think. And then the biggest fade, probably macro doomers.
Easy. Yeah, man, I don't know. That takes a lot of foresight to like, you have to materialize what you think is coming and what you think will be bad and what will be good.
Yeah. I guess if you're gonna like really, if you hate NFTs, I would fade that. Like if you don't think there's
that's
another
a simple
bubble
fade.
in NFTs, like basically buying NFTs right now. If there's another bubble, you're gonna print. If there's not, see you later.
Right.
So that's one thing that you could fade pretty easily. But the fear of missing out, if it does come, is going to be through the freaking roof. Because the timeline is just going to be going crazy about it.
Man, I'm really stuck on this question.
I know, I could
tell. There's so many things.
Well, there's always a new narrative every single day in crypto,
I know.
Right? So it's just like...
I'm going to go with the same answer for both.
Okay.
I think the biggest narrative fad is going to be... kind of like games, like this Dookie Dash thing for Yuga Labs.
Yuga fade.
Yuga fade. I've said the word fade in my head so many times. I think that's gonna be the biggest fad is like games and trying to integrate NFTs into games as smaller studios, smaller not being like Activision or EA or what have you. And I think the biggest narrative to fade is is probably NFT games.
Yeah.
It's such a hard market to do right. Like you have to get so many things right, so many things perfect. You have to like define your dopamine cycle to keep a user engaged. You have to do all the research to say how long is the attention span of our player base? How do you get that data? Like you have to have a game already out there to pull the data back from. It's just so hard to pull. And at the same time, you're in a crypto market that is looking for profits. They're not really looking for entertainment. Like, do I think it's cool to spend 10 ETH to buy a raft to play that like Survivor game? No.
Oh yeah, that thing's been like
so
low-key blowing up. But
yeah, but I'm not going to spend $15,000 to go toot around on a raft on a browser. I'm going to go spend $60 and play like a AAA game that someone put $200 million into.
Right.
And 100 million more people bought the same thing. Like
GTA 6.
That's a hard, yeah, exactly. Like that's a hard market to do right, especially when it's partially investment and it's partially entertainment.
Yeah, agreed. I will say for like the new mint that Yuga's doing right now specifically, like they're pushing the boundaries, right? Like this whole like skill based mint. I mean, it screws me because like there's pretty much zero chance that I do well. But it'll be cool to see because everyone follows Yuga. And so if this works, you're going to see more skill based mints. You know, so that will be interesting. And I like that they take chances. But I agree, it's so tough to get the gaming thing right, especially when you mix NFTs, because think about how much the gaming community right now hates NFTs. So you already have like your biggest user base not willing to even attempt it.
Yeah, they're spot on. Skill-based mints, I think, makes sense. Mini games like they're doing to do a mint to decide rarity could be cool. I think as a primary product is probably not the right direction unless you're building out some sort of like large universe. Like Otherside has potential, but it's got big shoes to fill. I'm thinking if you do something akin to like Neopets, you're probably in the right direction because that had an economy to it that you could succeed at. In this world, the economy would be the true economy of crypto. But anything else that's just purely entertainment is going to be a really hard sell. That's mine. That's my narrative to fade and my narrative fad.
I mean, yeah, that's probably spot on because you can make a ton of money for people for how hyped and speculative it's going to be, but that in the end, the adoption, if there is adoption, is probably only going to go to one player and then one winner. But and then it's going to crash and burn like we've seen.
That being said, there are some cool things out there, but I think they have to market them and push them in a really specific way, which is the NFT you have gets you maybe collector edition cosmetics, some early access, some sort of benefit, but the game is created and marketed to traditional gamers and funded through an NFT community. I think that's how gaming can succeed.
Yeah. That makes sense. The kid makes sense.
What do we got next? Yeah, I've done it. I've made a full thought. We've come full circle.
Yeah, the tea is finally hitting.
It is. We're waking up. It's been an hour and 15 minutes and we're awake. Good morning.
Best kind of barbecue meat. I'm not going to be starving after this, but.
I know. Man, I'm like picturing different barbecue like dishes in my head.
Yeah. I mean, okay, would you consider like, grilling up a filet mignon barbecue? Because like I'm saying no, but
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
I would
say
you could use a barbecue to cook a lot of things, but that doesn't make it barbecue meat.
I would say like a barbecue smoked pork shoulder that you turn into pulled pork is pretty top notch.
I love pulled pork. I was thinking that too. That's my go-to order at any restaurant. If we come to and I'm like, I'm not really sure what I want, and they have a pulled pork, I'm getting the pulled pork.
Yeah, and if they do it right, which, okay, you can't, there's like a floor, I feel like, you can't really fuck it up too bad, but you can make it amazing.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, I guess if it's like they don't put enough sauce and it's dry and all that stuff, yeah, it's gonna suck. But you could always just lather it in more barbecue sauce to make it decent.
Yeah,
but then there's
like
it too. No ceiling. Like it can get real good. Wow, I'm literally like about to shut this thing off.
So hungry.
No more questions like this, but absolutely. I mean, both questions that aren't crypto related are literally about meat.
Yeah, man. I'm like
what does that say
for
about
a
our
good
community?
lunch. We just love protein.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm gonna
protein
echo
maxis.
God, yeah, dude, I need lunch. Yeah. I'm gonna echo your pork shoulder, but I'm also gonna add like a barbecue brisket in there.
I mean, we love that.
Yeah, gosh. Now I actually might look for barbecue food in my area. There's a really, really good barbecue place I've not been to yet. That might be my today journey.
Well, there you go. I mean, I might have to, but we'll see.
Okay. Will you bring on guest speakers? Who would you like to bring on?
I've definitely talked to a couple people. It's interesting how many different routes you could go. You know, we could go like a founder, talk to some people who are actually in the GameFi NFT space, big on Arbitrum, that maybe want to come on the podcast, talk about it, like some of the Treasure Magic guys. But then there's, you know, people who are degens. There's one person in specific that wants to come on and kind of tell his story, and he's big in DeFi and NFTs, which I think is kind of a crossover. It doesn't happen too often, and it's just like a chiller. But yeah, so I mean, those are two different directions, but I think having both on would be decent. I mean, everyone likes to hear a good story.
Yeah, I love guest speakers.
Yeah, we should probably line one up for maybe the next one or the one after.
We did those early on, and they were a ton of fun. Some of the more fun episodes, no offense to each of us, we're hearing people's like rise to where they were now stories.
I mean, it's way easier for us. We just sit there and just chill.
Yeah.
But also want to make sure it's not boring. So I would say like the guest speakers in the past were great. So I don't think there's any reason to not do it. I don't know like really why we went away from it, but I think it was like scheduling basically.
Scheduling's a little bit hard. Trying to get 3 people at the same time.
Yeah.
It was difficult.
Especially for like an hour and a half on some of the bigger guests was like a little tough, but
right. It also gave us time to kind of hone in what our craft and what we're doing and where we want to go direction wise. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I don't want to sit here and spout off names and like name call people and put them in a position where they feel like they're pressured to come back on. So I'm not going to actually name who I'd like to have on.
Yeah.
But I will say pretty much anyone. Like I love having conversations with people. I talked to somebody yesterday for an hour about horses. I know nothing about horses, but I learned a lot.
I mean, there you go. We're going to have, this is going to become an equestrian pod before we know it.
Yeah, we'll start measuring each other in hands. Ooh, that sounded weird. Let's move on.
Yeah, moving on. Next major leap in NFTs. I would say we've touched on this a ton. So maybe go back and listen to some of the old episodes.
Yeah, I think that's probably where a lot of the knowledge is. Otherwise, it's kind of rehashing old content.
Yeah.
To give a quick answer, I'd say a lot of things are pushing the boundaries now, and we'll kind of figure out where that leap is going to come from. We're seeing a lot of audio, a lot of gamification, a lot of AI stuff now.
Memberships.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
But yeah, I think that question's been answered in almost every podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But go back, check them out. If you still have like specific questions, I'd say maybe ask them again. But yeah, either way. Have you ever done ethical hacking? Like basically like a white hat hack?
Is this to me?
I mean, maybe. I mean, shit, I'm not doing no hacking. So
I hacked a tree down recently. It was a small, like a 3-foot tall tree that was going to grow to be like 200 feet tall. It's just going to be too big.
There you have it. We have the white hat hacker in our presence.
I euthanized a tree before it caused problems for other things around it. I I mean, like, yes and no. Like, I don't know. I don't really like the term hacking because it sounds so like the Matrix or like Robot or whatever you want to call that show.
Right.
So like for a company, yeah, like you're kind of always pen testing your things to make sure that you're not exposing some endpoint that someone else can get to and find like user data.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ethical hacking in the sense of like actively looking for vulnerabilities in like traditional infrastructure. No. Ethical hacking in the sense of making sure like my shit is good or like the stuff that my team's working on is solid, then yeah. But you're not like loading up like Backtrack 5 or like Kali Linux and trying to like spoof some address into something. We've done that in the past in college. I've got some stories from college of like dicking around doing that, but it wasn't like white hat hacking. It was like I learned how to use some cool tools. Let's see if I can like turn off the neighbor's internet. So, I mean, I think getting the start in sevens or whatever, as this question goes on to ask, is more of just reading code and just kind of being around, being in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Not so much hacking, just reading code. I think that's conflated a lot. Is I've voiced this before. Words mean a lot, and I think that the word hacking is a little too strong, and it can get conflated with just reading the code and finding an issue. Like if you read a book or a novel and you find a typo, it's the same thing as me reading a contract and find a vulnerability. You're not hacking the book. You're just like, oh, I can read well, and here's like a grammatical error. Same thing with code. You can just read well, and you're like, oh, here's a bug.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's, again, I'm not in that camp. So, yeah, that question was solely for you.
You can't read?
I mean, I can read decently well, but as far as code goes, zilch chance.
Fair. I'm going to blow your mind for a second. You know Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
You know there's 5 books in that series?
Had no idea.
Yeah, me either. I learned like a month ago. I thought it was a one-off book, one movie. No.
One movie, yeah, one and done.
No, there's 5 of them.
There you go. The more you know.
Yeah. Fun topic.
Fun fact.
Fun fact, that's what I'm looking for. See, man, I just woke up. It's really hard to put words together sometimes.
No, you're killing it. You're killing it. I definitely couldn't mob like 20 minutes, open my eyes, and hop straight on the mic. So that's impressive.
Baby. How long will this rally last, and how much are we dropping? That indicates that they already believe we're going down.
Right. I think that's kind of like the whole thing about this is it's like the most hated rally. No one really caught the move, or like not as many people did. Even diehard crypto people missed the move. And that is like, you know, we just had a pullback this morning from 1,600 basically to 1,500 because of some DOJ hoax basically. So, you know, if you're talking about buying dips, that was a good chance. But, yeah, I mean, how high does it go? I think my realistic price, if you want to say it, would be like 2,300, and that is like where I would see it getting to a point of, okay, I'm gonna take some serious profits here because I think it's a little overextended. But I mean, it's crypto. You know, you never know. You never know how high it can go, or how low it could go. I mean, I'm not saying it's out of the woods, you know, but I'm in the camp that I think there is room for the upside for sure.
That's a big upside. Oh my gosh, the euphoria on the timeline would be insane.
Oh, dude, it would. My thinking is this: so everyone who's salty and sitting on the sidelines for this whole move so far, from like 1,100 to whatever 1,600, they're still salty right now. So imagine running it up to 2K, and it would be like, are we gonna break 2K? No, we're gonna like. Their thinking would be we bounce off of that and go back down to 1K, right? Which is hilarious, but that would be their thinking. And then we blow through it, 2,100, 2,200, and then all of a sudden those same people capitulate and FOMO in because they're not going to miss the ride to 3-4K ETH, and then we dump. And that is just how this game works.
Yeah, I mean that's how the last cycle worked, right?
End of year, we start like a true uptrend, and like by dump, I don't mean back to 1K. Like, let's be real here. I mean, maybe back to where we are right now. I mean, I don't know. It's again, I'm never one to like price predict, but if I was told to or asked to tell, where I think it could go, that's kind of just where my thinking is right now based on the information I have today. Now, it changes daily, as we saw this morning. So that's kind of my, I guess, outlook, if you will.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Like, I don't know. The question of how much we dropping is just super bear centric.
Right.
But like, how much do you think we're dropping? Like, if let's say we're at 1545 right now. If we go down back to 1,000, that's not a huge drop. We've been there before.
Right.
So like, the question of how much are we dropping is very much saying like we're going to zero in my mind.
It's just more excuses and cope on the timeline, which has been, it's literally every move up, they're silent, and then 1% pullback. It's so told you so, like yada yada yada, macro this, macro that, but then we've been inching higher. So yeah, I don't know. The question maybe is phrased as like, yeah, bear centric, and so in that case, it's like, nah, bruh. But maybe it wasn't meant like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think it matters though. Like, I think who gives a shit how long the rally lasts? The minute this rally happened, I got a text from somebody and they were saying, I should have bought at 1,200. Yeah, but what's wrong with buying now? Like, your horizon isn't 48 hours. It's not 2 weeks. If it's 2 years, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
So how much are we dropping doesn't really matter unless you're really trying to min-max your reward there, and then you're min-maxing your risk too.
And this is going to be super like almost a selfish take, but like I was hoping we had more time to accumulate around 1K. And so, a drop would be annoying for me, like short term, but long term, I think it would bode well for a ton of people if they're willing to take that chance. But if we did drop, and those same people wouldn't take the chance, so they'd still be sitting waiting for $600 ETH.
Right. I think we have chances at lower ETH in the future before the real bull happens, but I don't think it matters when the rally ends. I think it just matters of how you play it.
Boom.
There's always another pitch.
Exactly.
Every time, baby.
This is a good one.
I hate baseball. God, I hate baseball.
Wow, he did. This is a good one. Who is the producer exactly? How do we?
Dude, who's the Bender's intern?
Exactly. We may never know. We may never even know who producer is. I mean, when this podcast becomes a video format and we have the producer basically pulling up videos for us to discuss, or like audio clips or whatever, user submissions, maybe you'll find out. But I think it would be more fun to have them off camera and we're like, hey, producer, can you pull that up?
I think so too.
Yeah.
The producer controls their identity, in my opinion. Also, like if they don't want to be on camera, they don't get to be on camera. Like
but it's fun having them opaque.
Yes, it is. It's a ton of fun. It's like this all powerful phrase of the producer.
They're shrouded in mystery right now, and mystery is always a good thing.
Right. It's like in
for the most part.
Yeah. Do you remember watching? I think it's Dexter's Laboratory. You can never see the parents. They're just the parents, and you just see them from like the knees up or the knees down.
That's hilarious.
It's like the producer. It's just the producer, man. But damn, does he work hard? He's putting in a ton of work. He's always lining stuff up. Absolute king grinding of his craft.
Yep, and he listens to the pod generally before anyone else.
Yeah, a few times.
A few times is right. Puts together the clip. So shout out to producer. Doing the Lord's work and getting the engagement up, which is always ideal. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where if producer wants to come out and say who it is, producer can. But the identity could probably grow 10 times bigger if it was shrouded in mystery. Just saying.
The producer. I think the funny part of the last few days is that there was a moment on the timeline where everyone thought I controlled the trending down Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting like memes sent to me of like me talking to myself when I was replying to the trending down Twitter.
Well, remember when people thought that about you and me?
Yeah.
Before the podcast, even the first couple episodes being like, no, you guys are just like the same person.
Oh yeah, that was so funny. We should have done the first episode as a monologue.
I know. That would have been hilarious.
Oh man.
A missed chance. Or like the idea you were talking about where there's just nothing. We put out a podcast and it's just like an hour of nothingness. Of
silence. Oh man. Yeah, I don't even have access to the Twitter.
That's hilarious to me.
Well, yeah, because you've given me the password and the credentials like 6 times now.
Exactly.
I'm sure they're somewhere. I have not logged in and utilized them.
Yeah. No, they're definitely somewhere.
Producer's in full control.
I know. Producer is definitely in full control. Before I get to this last question, because it'll probably lead to the end of the episode, we're going to check back in on things. So sewer passes are out. They live on air. The tier 1s are around 2 ETH. They're around 1.2 right now. So they're dropping.
Right.
Yuga assets are dropping because the sewer passes aren't worth as much, it seems. They've been dropping, but mutants and the dogs are getting hit super hard.
Yep.
As expected. So that's that. The 25x long is flat. Now.
Flat.
And I put that long in. We pressed record, and then the Genesis news came out. So.
Okay.
We could be printing here because I'll definitely leave it open for a while. Because if we didn't nuke off that, then it's boding well. But I mean, I'll check back on this once we, maybe right before we wrap, because we could be in the green. But yeah, that's a quick live update.
Are you surprised by the Yuga passes?
I'm
not.
I mean, I didn't think they were going to be worth a ton, but what I think people are going to miss out on is that these are passes. So there's more mini games. So you play mini game 1, which is the Dookie Dash, and then there's mini game 2 and 3. And I think you evolve this, whatever it ends up being, into something that is like another Yuga asset. And I think that end product will probably be worth more than what the passes are worth right now.
I would believe that, because I think you have a small percentage of the supply that make it through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't imagine all the passes evolve.
Right. And it's probably not something you can like go back and play, because they've specifically stated at least play once and get like a score above 0 to register the pass. So once the 3 weeks of gameplay are done, like February 8th or something like that, I'm pretty sure any pass that has a score of 0 and never played basically is null and void.
Oh, I would hope so.
Right? And then the ones that did play are eligible to move forward and play the next mini game, so on and so forth, until we figure out what like the end goal is of this whole situation.
It's a longitudinal game, right? Like, this is not done in 3 weeks. This is done in several months, is my understanding?
Mm-hmm. So the first game, there is some, like, end result. Someone gets the key, the highest score. But I don't know if we figure out what that key ends up being until the other mini games are played.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. We'll see. That's just my theory. But I definitely think I'm not surprised by the price action on the passes. But, a tier 1 being 1.3 ETH, and then if this evolves into a Yuga asset eventually after all the games, then I think it'll be worth more than 1.3 ETH. Because it's not a 200K collection. It's literally would be max 30K.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, is I was comparing this to other side, which is as of right now, 100K collection. So I was thinking, this is 30K. So these should at least be somewhere above that.
Mm-hmm.
But, when I first minted it, you asked, you're going to sell it right away. If I was really trying to min-max the reward, I would have taken the 2.1 ETH offer and just waited. Because as supply trickles in, people will floor to sell, and you buy back in.
Yeah. We know how these things go, but it was a thing of timing. One, we were live on air, and then two.
I just thought it'd be fun to have the ID that matches my ape while I go through this.
Oh, yeah. No, that'd be cool.
Yeah. No other reason. Who gives a shit?
I mean, if these opened at 5 ETH for the tier 1s and then something crazy for like tier 2, 3, 4, I would have definitely sold into that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I was willing to accept 10 ETH for the tier 3 that I have.
Oh, hell yeah. I would have taken,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that would have been fine. I don't really care because I'm going to suck at playing the game anyway. But
it'll be fun though. I wanted to play the game. And you get to play it for free. So you just got the airdrop. So either way,
and I'm gonna
kind of
now. I mean, at this point, I'm definitely gonna go along and play whatever it ends up being, and hope RNG hits me hard with a dope asset after all the games have been played. So
it certainly will not. Don't worry.
Of course, no.
I'm gonna do incredibly average. I'm gonna talk an immense amount of trash, and then I will get a true floor. It's just how it's gonna work, and I'm okay with that.
Hey, we're calling it here live. That's a price prediction I can almost guarantee.
Mm-hmm. I've voiced this before. Cartoon PFPs are gonna be huge, though. I'm not backing down on that, and I still think if these come out as more cartoon PFPs, it's a win-win. It's another PFP for Yuga, which we don't have. We just have apes, mutants, and that's it right now.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and then you eventually maybe Kodas, but that's kind of like the play there. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it all unfolds. Never fade Yuga, and that's never more true. And the 25x long is now green. So, and we'll see ya.
Perfect. We're done.
Last point on the Twitter topic. Someone just said, it's not a question. Here's some encouragement. Love what you guys are doing for the space. I think the only thing I want to say on this is like, one, much appreciated. Those type of comments go a long way. It's exciting. The producer goes crazy when he's seeing all the engagement on the tweets, and the podcast is really like would not be shit without listeners, right? And so in a community, so that is never ever lost on us. But the more we grow, the better it is for all of this. So help spread the word, and that means more than you guys know.
I echo that infinitely. We do it for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's fun hopping on the mic and just talking shit. But, that's why I think having community come on the pod and tell us their stories and whatever is going to be like a banger. I think it's going to just drive tons of engagement and get people hooked and want to be a part of the community. But we'll see.
So far, it's going well.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun, and again, episode 20. So if you made it this far, we appreciate you, and that's it. Another great episode in the books. That long is now up 5%. So let's go. We still got it, boys.
We still got it.
Any parting words, or are we wrapping it?
Parting words. Yeah. I do got some parting words. I'll make something up. There's a whitelist opportunity for the Bender collection in this episode, so good luck.
Wow, is it hidden already in the episode?
It's in the episode already, yeah.
I mean, bruh, I'm so out of the loop. One, I didn't know the last answer because I was never told. And now, two, this happens and I'm on the mic and I have no idea. So
it's beautiful.
This one has to... Okay, what would you say it is on the scale of difficulty?
Like a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. There you have it. So again, if you made it this far, well, I guess making it this far just gives you a hint that there is something hidden. But, I mean, fuck, this might be the first one I go back and actually listen to because I got to...
If you find it, let me know.
I guarantee I won't. I had no idea on the 2 out of 5 difficulty. A 4 out of 5 is 100% increase, and that's simple math for you.
Simple math, baby, what we're good at.
Exactly. Anyway, appreciate everyone listening. Go smash whatever it is that you have to go smash that the producer wants you to smash, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Later.